let's give a congratulations to our boy, man, Kyle Rudolph, man. There's a lot of reasons to like Kyle Rudolph, right? Like, Kyle Rudolph gave us a bunch of great moments as a Minnesota Viking. We're not even going to talk about what he did for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was absolutely nothing. And we ain't even going to talk about what he did with the Giants, right? Because Kyle Rudolph is a Viking and will always be a Viking, right? The stuff he does in the community, I mean, he was just one of my favorite players as far as off the field, man. The dude did a lot. And what he has going on now is really good, man. You know what I mean? Like, my boy is moving into the broadcast world. And you know what? I can see him calling NFL games eventually. So as of now, according to The Athletic, you know what I'm saying, he's going to be calling on NBC some Big Ten games. Now, this is the thing. I think it brings a lot of value to college football when you have players that played in the NFL and they can call these college games, because it's like this, man. When you think about Tony Romo, man, Tony Romo is taking the broadcast game to a whole new level. I'm going to just keep it real. Shout out Tony Romo, right? Because Tony Romo will call a play before it happens. If you watch a game with Tony Romo calling it, bro, like, you know what's going to happen before it happens. He calls it right on the head. And players like Kyle Rudolph doing that in college football, doing broadcasting in college football, they're going to be able to do the same thing. They'll give that same effect. It actually makes the game enjoyable because you almost yell at the TV like, hey, change the play then, you know what I mean? You get into it a little more, man. It does bring value to the consumer watching the football game. You know what I mean? And Big Ten, man, that's a good conference. There's going to be some good players there. There's going to be a lot of hype going on around the Big Ten conference this season, man. They're going to be able to have some good calls, man. He'll be able to make some good calls sitting there, you know, trying to predict plays and just giving these guys their flowers, man. Shout out to Kyle Rudolph. Again, Kyle Rudolph is that dude. I like Kyle Rudolph. Now, when it comes to athleticism, we all know Kyle Rudolph wasn't the fastest guy, but guess what? This dude knew how to do one thing really good. And what was that? That was boxing people out and being able to catch jump balls. Hey, Kirk Cousins loved him for the 2 years he played with them. I'm going to tell you right now, we had other quarterbacks, Case Keenum, all the quarterbacks that had a chance to play with Kyle Rudolph knew that in the red zone, Kyle Rudolph was your target. Kyle Rudolph was making catches. He would be able to extend 6 feet out of the end zone line and snatch the ball back in. We've seen it, right? We've seen it. We got proof of it. So, you know, Kyle Rudolph to me has brought me a lot of joy being a Vikings fan, watching him play football. And now that he's taken his journey to another level, I can see him actually calling NFL games, man. You know, you got to start somewhere, man. And you know what? I just want to support Kyle Rudolph at the end of the day. The funny thing was, remember when he left and he wrote that note and there was a big controversy on him not mentioning Kirk Cousins in his letter. He kind of gave a shout out to everybody except for number 8. But hey, it is what it is, man. I mean, he ain't the only person that has done some slick stuff like that. Hint, just recently with Justin Jefferson not naming Kirk Cousins as a top 5 quarterback. I mean, listen, Kirk Cousins to us, he looks great. He's a great guy off of the field. But hey, in the locker room, it might be a different story. We don't know. You know what I mean? We don't know. We just assume, man, as fans. So we got to just take these players' word, man. And he didn't mention them for a reason. It could have been an innocent accident. He didn't even know. Like, he just, you know, did it without even thinking about it. It was like, oh, shit, after he did it, maybe he felt bad. But because Kyle Rudolph definitely isn't a bad person, and I don't think he would do anything with intentional, you know, just being evil intentionally. I don't think he's that type of guy. But, you know, hey, I'm just happy for him, man. You know what I mean? We got to represent the Vikings when they move on from the purple and they go do other things. We have to show them love, have to support them always, because his career is going to be remembered as a Minnesota Viking, nothing else. All right? Nobody's going to remember him as a Giant. Nobody's going to remember him as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And guess what? He hasn't even officially retired yet. So we might as well sign him to a one-day deal, let him come and hang his jersey up in the Minnesota Vikings stadium, because that's what it is. You know, to me, that's what it is, man. He brought value, won us the championship, won us the wild card game in New Orleans with the overtime catch. Like, shout out to damn Kyle Rudolph, man. Hope everything turns out well for you calling the Big Ten this year on NBC. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about Kyle Rudolph. Do y'all think eventually we will see him calling Monday Night Football games for the Minnesota Vikings? You feel me? I do. Greg Olsen does it. You know, I don't see why not, man. I think tight ends, man, they actually got a good understanding of the game, and they can make it happen. They can make it happen. Shout out to the tight ends that's making their way into the broadcasting field, man. Y'all let me know how you feel. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Holla at your boy.
Yeah, smooth summer, who running? I hear them talking, but they ain't gonna do nothing. Celebration, I might have a toast with you. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great, I'm terrific. percentage.